Here's what most people never realize. By the time words matter, the verdict is already written. Humans don't listen first, they rank first. The brain is obsessed with efficiency. It wants to know immediately who leads and who follows. That's why value is decided before logic even enters the room. In those first moments, people aren't asking, is he smart? They're asking, do I need to adjust myself to him? And the scariest part? You can say everything right and still lose if your state betrays you. Microsignals decide this silently. The way you pause before answering, whether your face stays relaxed or tightens, whether your body settles into the space or hovers at the edges. These details feel invisible to you, but they're screaming to everyone else. Most men give away their rank because they leak urgency. They lean in too fast. They react too quickly. They match the other person's energy instead of holding their own. Subconsciously, this says, I'm adaptable to you. And adaptability, early on, reads as lower value. High-value presence does something counterintuitive. It slows the interaction down. It introduces friction, not conflict, friction. Enough to make the other person recalibrate. They speak differently, they sit differently, they start checking themselves. This is when the shift happens. Once someone adjusts to you, they rarely reverse it. Their brain commits to consistency. They justify the hierarchy internally. They don't even realize they're doing it. It just feels natural. And that's the real power, not forcing dominance, not demanding respect, but creating a moment where the other person unconsciously steps into alignment. From that point on, everything you say lands heavier. Your silence feels louder, your approval feels rarer. And rarity is what the human mind values most. By the time the conversation reaches depth, the outcome is already biased in your favor. And all of it happened before you spoke. Control never looks like control. If it did, men would resist it. Instead, it disguises itself as comfort, routine, and normal life. You wake up, scroll, react, repeat, and every reaction trains you to be predictable. Here's what most men don't understand. The system doesn't need to dominate you physically, it only needs to predict you. The moment your behavior becomes predictable, your value drops. Because predictable men are easy to manage, easy to replace, and easy to ignore. Look around. Same opinions, same reactions, same emotional triggers. Outrage on command, motivation on command, distraction on command. Most men think they're choosing freely, but they're just responding to stimuli designed to pull predictable responses. Real power begins when you stop reacting automatically. Controlled men react immediately to disrespect, to temptation, to fear, to approval. Free men pause. That pause is dangerous to the system because it breaks the pattern. And once the pattern breaks, control weakens. The first sign a man is controlled isn't weakness, it's urgency. He rushes to speak, rushes to explain, rushes to defend himself, rushes to prove value. Urgency is the language of someone being pulled by invisible strings. This is why silence feels uncomfortable at first. Silence gives you back control. When you don't react instantly, you force the world to adjust to you instead of the other way around. Most men are not lazy, they're overstimulated. Their attention is constantly hijacked, leaving no space for independent thought. And a man who cannot control his attention cannot control his life. This is the hidden trap. The more distracted you are, the more you mistake movement for progress. Busy, but not powerful. Active, but not dangerous. In motion, but going nowhere. Control isn't taken all at once. It's handed over in small moments of unconscious reaction. And the man who never notices those moments stays trapped inside them. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Control doesn't look like chains anymore. It looks like comfort, like routines, like habits you didn't choose, but repeat every day without questioning. Most men believe they're free because no one is forcing them. That's the illusion. Real control never needs force. It needs compliance. The system doesn't push you, it guides you. It tells you what to want, what to fear, what success looks like. And once you accept that frame, you police yourself. You wake up tired, scroll, consume, complain, repeat. Not because you're weak, but because predictability is profitable. Here's what most men miss. The more predictable you are, the easier you are to control. Your reactions become automatic. Your opinions become recycled. Your emotions get triggered on command. Anger here, pleasure there. Fear when needed. Calm when distraction is required. Notice how fast your attention moves. Notice how quickly you react without thinking. That's not random, that's conditioning. When your attention is owned, your decisions follow. Controlled men think they're choosing. Free men pause. They hesitate before reacting. They question impulses. They don't immediately respond to stimulation. That delay alone separates influence from autonomy. Look around. Most people don't decide their actions. They respond to signals, notifications, trends, social pressure. The crowd moves, and they move with it, believing it was their idea. The most dangerous part. Control feels normal. It feels safe. It feels familiar. And anything outside it feels risky, strange, even threatening. That's how the cage stays invisible. The moment you slow down, disconnect emotionally, and observe instead of react, the illusion starts cracking. You see patterns, you see repetition, you see how predictable behavior is rewarded and independent thought is discouraged. This is where power begins, not by fighting the system, but by stepping outside its rhythm. And once you do that, you're no longer easy to steer. Control doesn't come from force. It comes from repetition. The mind accepts whatever it sees often enough as normal. And once something feels normal, it stops being questioned. This is how men lose freedom without ever feeling trapped. Look around. Same routines, same reactions, same opinions repeated everywhere. Most men believe they're thinking independently, but they're just responding to patterns that were installed long ago. The system doesn't need chains. It needs habits. Every time you react emotionally instead of deliberately, control tightens. Every time you scroll without intention, someone else chooses what enters your mind. Every time you chase comfort, you trade power for relief. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The average man is predictable, and predictability is exploitable. If your reactions can be anticipated, you can be steered. Advertisers know this. Algorithms know this. Even people around you feel it instinctively. That's why controlled men are always reactive. They wait for permission, for trends, for validation. Their actions are responses, not decisions. And the moment you stop deciding, someone else decides for you. Power begins the moment you interrupt the pattern. When you pause instead of reacting. When you choose silence instead of noise. When you do the opposite of what's expected, not to rebel, but to reclaim awareness. Controlled men consume, free men observe. Once you see the pattern, it becomes impossible to unsee it, and once you stop feeding it, it loses its grip. But breaking free comes at a cost. Because the moment you step outside predictability, you stop being comfortable and start being dangerous. Here's the most uncomfortable truth. The system doesn't need to force you. It only needs to train you. Train you to crave validation. Train you to fear silence. Train you to feel anxious when you're not being seen. Most men wake up already reacting. Notifications, opinions, trends, outrage, dopamine spikes. None of it is accidental. A distracted mind is a compliant mind. And compliance looks like comfort until you realize nothing in your life is actually moving forward. Look closely. Men are told what to desire, what to hate, what success looks like, what failure means. And if you follow the script, you're rewarded with approval, likes, temporary pleasure, noise, but no control. Control begins the moment you stop consuming reflexively, when you pause instead of reacting, when you question why something triggers you, when you choose boredom over stimulation. That's when the leash snaps. The system collapses the moment you regain attention, because attention is currency. Whoever controls it controls direction, and direction decides outcomes. This is why discipline feels threatening to the world. A disciplined man cannot be easily sold to. He doesn't chase, he doesn't panic, he doesn't mirror the chaos around him. He observes it. When you stop reacting, people notice. They feel resistance, they feel uncertainty. And uncertainty shifts power. Most men never experience this moment. They mistake freedom for comfort. They confuse choice with impulse. And they stay controllable because it feels safe. But the moment you reclaim your focus, your time, and your emotional responses, you step outside the machine. And once you're outside, you see it clearly. Here's what makes control so dangerous. You don't feel it while it's happening. Real control doesn't force you. It guides you. It gives you choices that all lead to the same outcome. You think you're free, but every path has already been mapped. Look around. Most men wake up at the same hour, scroll the same apps, react to the same headlines, chase the same goals they never chose. They call it routine. In reality, it's programming. Control works best when it feels normal. You don't notice the strings because they're invisible. Social expectations, validation loops, fear of standing out, fear of being misunderstood. Slowly, decisions stop being intentional. You respond instead of act. You consume instead of create. You adapt instead of lead. And here's the brutal part. Once a man becomes predictable, he becomes manageable. Systems love predictable men. Predictable men don't resist. They don't disrupt. They don't threaten hierarchy. This is why unpredictability equals power. The moment people can't read you, they stop controlling you. When your reactions aren't automatic, influence weakens. When your decisions don't follow patterns, manipulation breaks. Freedom doesn't start with rebellion. It starts with awareness. The moment you see the pattern, you step outside it. And once you step outside, you're no longer easy to move. That's when control begins to reverse. Here's the final truth most men never face. Control only works on people who remain unconscious of it. The moment you see the pattern, it starts to break. The moment you understand how incentives, fear, comfort, and social pressure shape behavior, you stop reacting automatically. You pause. You choose. And that pause is where freedom begins. Most men believe they're making decisions. In reality, they're responding to validation, to avoidance of discomfort, to the desire to fit in. That's not independence. That's programming. Power isn't about rebellion, it's about awareness. When you recognize the invisible strings, you stop dancing for the crowd, you stop chasing approval, you stop living on autopilot. And here's what happens next. People around you feel it. They can't explain it, but something changes. Your words carry more weight. Your presence creates resistance instead of compliance, because men who can't be controlled become unpredictable. And unpredictability is threatening to weak systems. This is why society rewards obedience and punishes clarity. It's safer when men stay distracted. It's safer when they never question who benefits from their behavior. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. If this video made you uncomfortable, that's a good sign. Discomfort is the first crack in the cage. If it resonated, stay here. This channel isn't about motivation, it's about deprogramming. Subscribe if you want to understand how power really works. Comment if you felt this hit closer than expected. And remember, the most dangerous man isn't angry, he's awake.